back with footage from this past weekend at Tulsa Tough. So this is the Cat 1-2 men's race on Friday night, the Blue Dome Crit. This is the first night of 3 days of racing down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's a pretty classic flat crit. It has a figure 8, like you can see down on the right there. The one end, the side with the start finish, is a little bit longer. It goes for 2 blocks compared to the other side. It's just like a 1 block square. And we're just flying around it here with like 6 laps left in the race. So I'm just going to show you the ending of this race. So the race to this point, there was a breakaway of 1 off the front at the beginning that never really had a chance. And then it got pretty hard for a while as people were trying to get away, and nothing stuck. And eventually it all came back together just before where I'm showing you now. And nobody has really taken up the pacemaking since then, so it's been fanning all the way across the road like we see here, which makes for some sketchy situations that we'll see later. And also is just kind of like giving everybody a chance to come up and swarm through the field as we're getting down to the last 5 laps here. So let's take a look at the course on this next lap. We are coming up under the start finish right here. It's like on a slight uphill, and then we take the first right turn and it starts to go back downhill. So now we've got the left in turn 2, and this was kind of a line I took on a lot of the laps where I was staying on the outside through all the right-hand corners and the inside through the 2 lefts. But this is still going downhill, and now we're coming into like the highest speed corners on the course. That right-hander was pretty quick most laps. And then this part slows down here as it goes uphill a little bit again. And then you could sneak down the inside on this left a lot of laps to get spots. And then we have this longer straight here before the final 2 turns into the finish. And on the laps where it bunched up here, this is a really good spot to move up. So this is our right, and then we have 1 more turn onto the finish straight, and there's like a kind of deceptive false flat up to the finish line. So now we're on the home straight, and this little hill kicks up probably with like 50 meters to go right here, and then it's all the way uphill to the finish line. And the course also kind of pinched right at the finish line, which made for some hairy moments. There was a couple laps where I had to go like pretty deep on turn 1 to avoid some people tangling up like in the middle of the corner. We also had some crashes on like the second to last corner early in the race and coming out of that straightaway. One of my teammates had like his front wheel pretty much torn apart when somebody swerved into it and then caused him to fall. But definitely the biggest crash was on the last lap in the very first corner, which I'll show you later, and was the little clip at the start of the video. But everybody's definitely starting to get a little antsy here, so people are starting to move up at like every chance they can get. This course is not that hard, so I think we started with just over 100 people, and it felt like there was still 100 people left at this point. I don't think that many people got actually dropped in our race. I think there's just people who had to stop because of crashes. This was my first time at Tulsa Tough actually, so I was super impressed with the atmosphere at these crits. There was a lot of people out for just the 1-2 race even. But once it got dark and the pro men started, there was a ton of people all around the course, like several people deep. There was these giant parties at like bars along the course where Red Bull had this big truck out and like a DJ playing. So the race was a lot of fun to spectate, especially the pro races once it got dark. They had fireworks that went off after the men's race. I think they're supposed to happen during the race usually, but they were afterwards this year, so I don't know what happened there. But this was definitely like the second coolest race of the weekend, I would say. Saturday was maybe a little bit quieter, still like very exciting race though. And then Sunday is the famed Crybaby Hill, and that was absolutely unreal to ride into the first time. So hopefully I'll have the footage from Crybaby Hill up at some point for you all to see. But in the meantime, we're getting right down to the end of this race. So coming through the last corner here, and when we come through the start finish, we're going to see 2 laps to go. So I'm definitely realizing that I am too far back at this point. So my thought was I need to put in a lot of effort to get up into a place where I can at least sprint into the top 10 maybe. But this course was kind of challenging to move up on, just since you were always like into and out of these corners, especially on this half of the course, like super quickly. Like as soon as you were out of one corner, you were setting up for the next one. But at this point, I'm thinking I need to do some work and get some spots back here. But I think the race is quickening up a little bit again at this point, so I'm not having very much success doing that. I think I was maybe also starting to feel the race. My heart rate's pretty high, but that was kind of a common theme all weekend since it was so hot. I was seeing way higher heart rate numbers than I usually do, but wasn't really like a big bunching up there. And we're now coming into the almost into the last lap, so we just have this last straightaway and then we'll be on the last lap, and people are already starting to peel off. Job done for the day. So I was like getting a little frantic to move up at this point, and then I hear the crash and had to throw on the brakes through this corner, and I was fishtailing everywhere and somehow managed to sneak through there without crashing. So at this point I was like pretty happy to just still be on my bike since we still have 2 more days of racing after this. But kind of bummed to miss out on the sprint since I had to throw on the brakes. It was basically just at the back of this group here. So I just fast forwarded through this last lap because it's just me off the back after that crash. But very happy to not be in the crash. But kind of bummed this was a missed opportunity on night 1. So luckily this was the worst result of the weekend, so they just kept getting better from here. I think I ended up in 40th place for the night, but thanks for watching, everyone.